Masako, Michael, thank you so much for joining, for coming on and getting an opportunity to, get your thoughts on lots happened in a few days, but especially today. I want to start with Masako. What your thoughts are on what happened with Charlie Kirk today and the sad his passing.
It's very sad. I We are in Thailand right now, and so as soon as I got up, I heard about this happening, and I would like to express greatest condolences. And he recently visited Japan. He was invited by a anti-globalism party. It's called Sanseto, and he gave a speech. And many people got together, and then they were united and promising that they are going to work together in the future. And Charlie Kirk was saying that he will come back to Japan next year. He was gonna organize rally there. So I saw the video too. It's very sad video, but all the posts and the messages that he left, he was really fighting. So I don't know who did it, or we all don't know the detail yet, but he was fighting to the big enemy. So later I would like to introduce you the message by the Sanseto party leader, Kamiya-san. He posted his message for Charlie Kirk.
You want to read it now? This episode is brought to you by Vaulted. Launched by McIlvaney Financial Group, with Vaulted, I literally just tap a button and I own physical gold stored in a professional vault. Vaulted is offering all of my listeners $50 of free gold when you click on my sign-up link. They have a tool called Vault Plan that allows you to passively add your gold position every month. Just activate it for 6 months and you will get $50 of free gold in your account. Click on the promo link in the show notes or go to vaulted.blbvux.net/coffeeandamike.
May I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. His name is Sohei Kamiya. He posted on X. In memory of Charlie Kirk, we are stunned and heartbroken at the news of Charlie Kirk's passing. Only on September 7th, we welcomed him to Japan for a lecture. In that short time, he became more than a distinguished guest. He became a comrade committed to building the future with us. We had promised to meet again at his year-end event and had begun to imagine the work we would take on together. Charlie left us with a wealth of vital messages. Though his life was taken, no one can take his convictions or silence the message he carried. We will honor him in the only way worthy of his example, by treasuring what we received from him, by telling it faithfully, and by carrying it forward, here in Japan and beyond. To his family, to our friends at Turning Point, and to all who loved him, we extend our deepest condolences and our unwavering resolve to continue the work we pledge to undertake together. Rest in peace, Charlie. We will see you again. This is the message posted by head of Sanseto Party, Congressman Kamiya.
And for people that don't know, what is that party?
So in Japan, this is the only anti-globalism party, and now it's growing. So they are trying to build a connection with the people fighting in US, and Charlie Kirk was invited this time, and he gave a lecture. So Sanseto Party is anti-globalism party.
So that September 7th, that was just, that was 3 days ago that he was there.
Yes.
What were your thoughts, as you heard about it this morning in relation to the work that you're doing and you've been one. I mean, you and I have known each other for a few years. You're not afraid to speak out, and I would argue that you are the leader of journalism in your country of Japan.
I'm not a leader in Japan for journalism, but yes, as Charlie, this thing happened to Charlie Kirk. We are facing this great danger for speaking up what we think. But this, if we are intimidated by this, then that's not good for Charlie's will too, I think. So we all have same common enemy, and we just need to continue fighting.
I can't believe we're sitting here and he was assassinated today. I'm still in shock about this whole thing. Like I can't believe that somebody took him out.
Yeah, but U.S. is facing critical, maybe the what do you call destruction of the country. That's what you are fighting for. That express how critical it is in U.S. to stand up and have strong will to protect United States.
But you experienced this with Prime Minister Abe not that long ago. So this is not new to you. I know Charlie Kirk wasn't a politician, but I mean he was a leader in the movement. And so, this is not your first time going through this. How does, I mean, what I don't even know what to ask you in relation to that, because when Prime Minister Abe was assassinated and you talked about it, how does this feel knowing now this happened in America?
Because this what happened to Charlie, it just happened. So we don't know the detail, who did it, who was behind, and what was the motive. So I cannot give analysis of how it's related to the assassination of Prime Minister Abe. But the things happened in Germany. The politicians who are running for election, 7 people in one party was killed too. So it's not just happening to US. It's not just happening to Japan. It's not just happening in Germany or Europe. It's happening all over the world at the same time, I think. So I would like to hear Michael's take too. But we all are fighting the great big thing. And this is the war. We are in a war.
Michael, what were your thoughts initially when you heard about this?
Well, I got up at about 3 a.m. to work, as I often do, and I saw the video, and on one of our private chats, and I thought, wow, if that video is legit, he was killed. I didn't need to wait to hear whatever the doctors said. It was obvious, having seen a lot of people shot, including right here close to us, where I've seen a lot of fighting here in Thailand, where people were shot often, like a couple thousand casualties type stuff, right? So it was very serious shot. I don't know how the distance was or who did it or whatever, but the bottom line is I'm not surprised at all. And in fact, if I'm surprised at anything, it's that it's not happened very much compared to what I would expect, because it is happening. As Masako mentioned, 7 people from the AfD party in Japan, in Germany, just mysteriously died. Obviously that was not a coincidence. I think we can get past any idea that was a coincidence. And the wars that we're looking at are epic in size. Killing 1 million people is nothing. I mean, look at the death jabs, right? Over 600,000 people are believed to have died just in Japan from the death jabs. Masako is right in the middle of the researchers like Dr. Yasufumi Murakami and his group that are collecting that data. I mean, she knows them. They call her up all the time. I'm with her when they call her. And I mean, we're watching that stuff. And we see it from the U.S. side as well. Not only that, but from the European side. Millions of people obviously have already died from the death jabs. That's readily apparent. We don't even know what has happened with the birth rates, the fertility. We don't know how many people actually have invaded the United States and Europe in the last years. We see people are still being given visas. There's still not any serious repatriate. This is all part of a larger complex of weapons that are being unfolded on us. Eventually, we're going to see famines, I think, based on the thing. I've been warning about this since 2020. It's very clear that conditions are being set for famine. Masako and I successfully predicted Nord Stream in advance, well in advance, many times. The second time that we went to BASF plant was just 14 days before Nord Stream was blown up. We predicted Groningen and gas field cut. We predicted screw worms. We predicted that the Darien Gap would become a major invasion route and that the Panama Canal would end up becoming a major issue. Predicted all these things and many more with a high level of accuracy, and our level of accuracy is increasing. So I say that to say that our paradigm of what is happening is it's a workable paradigm. In other words, it is we're not surprised by anything. I'm absolutely not surprised at what happened to Charlie Kirk. It was zero surprise because our paradigm is accurate. I think we're going to see more of that. And a lot of people have said this for years. It's tragic. It's sad. We send our prayers for Charlie Kirk and his family now. But absolutely not surprised. Anybody with the most dangerous thing you can do is pick up that pen and write, or at the keyboard, or talk into these microphones. This is what'll get you killed. The pen and the microphone, right? I mean, we are literally on the front line. This is far more dangerous than being a soldier. What we're doing is far more dangerous than being a Green Beret or a Delta Force guy or a SEAL or an Air Force pilot. This is it. This is what'll get you killed, right? And anybody who's under any illusions about that, be under no illusions. Charlie Kirk is dead. And I think you're going to see a lot more. Now, Nepal, you've seen what just happened in Nepal or what's going on there. Masako and I may head up there. I spent more than a year in Nepal, just that, almost exactly a year, a little more. And I walked up to Mount Everest, that sort of thing. I used to go up there and just read books and talk with people. But I was there during the Maoist revolution, right? And I was out with Maoists all the time. I hired Maoists as my porters. That was one of the ways I learned what the Maoists were doing, right? So I spent months with Maoists in their villages and that sort of thing. And what were Maoists doing? Maoists were getting people to speak their own languages, sing their own songs, the normal stuff, anthropological warfare, right? They were very cruel, and they had a lot of cruelty come back at them as well. The Maoists won in the end. And so, a lot of the Nepalese that we saw coming through the Darien Gap, I love Nepalese people, by the way. They're outstanding people. But, they're organically corrupt like people are around the world, like Americans are, like Dutch and many Japanese even are just corrupt or corruptible, right? And so what just happened, according to a good friend of mine in Nepal, is the Nepalese government said, hey, we're not getting any taxes from YouTube and Instagram and all that, so let's just cut them, right? Now, I've seen the Nepalese government do that before. Just precipitously make some, okay, since we have the power, let's go ahead and use it without any thinking whatsoever, right? And I've seen the Polish government do that when I had a business there. We see the U.S. government do it on a regular basis. And so it's just something that many governments do. But when they cut the Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, one of the things you'll find in a country like Nepal, which is one of the poorest countries in the world, is that a lot of the people now make their money using things like Instagram. They make their money on Facebook. That's how they advertise their guide services or their whatever. They sell products or whatever, right? So suddenly you just cut that off. and they love Instagram and whatnot. They use YouTube for education. By the way, I've called it YouTube University for many years. There's a lot of people that use it to learn how to just do stuff, right? And so when that was cut, they went and protested immediately. The Nepalese government responded with gunfire, killing 19. And some of the people that were killed they were all young people to my knowledge. And so then the next day rolls around, and the Nepalese, these are men of action. They're like, and so they took action just like their government did with precipitously, cutting the social media. They came and burned down the parliament. They burned down many government buildings. They were beating up government people. One hotel was burned down. I'm told it was a 5-star hotel, the Hilton, because it was associated with one of the government members. So they're burning down. The government basically just got burned down. The parliament just got literally, it didn't get a little bit burnt. It's done. It's Humpty Dumpty. You can't put it back together again. And you're going to have to rebuild it, which, with their budget, will take years. Now, keep in mind, Nepal is like many, like Guatemala, insofar as a lot of the income from the country comes from overseas. It comes from their people working in 7-Elevens and gas stations around the world, including in Japan, including here in Thailand. There's a lot of Nepalese here in Thailand. There's a lot of Nepalese in Japan. All over the United States, you see Nepalese people, right? And they send that money back to Nepal. That's one of the major sources of income. Another major source of income is just people going on vacation in Nepal, right? They love to go trekking. Like I've trekked around there a lot. Like I spent a year in Nepal, and I spent a lot of time with Maoists, and I would hire them so I could figure out what they were doing while I was walking around reading books, So bottom line is Nepal is just took a turn. Obviously the Maoists are no longer welcome. I saw somebody crawling up a flagpole to tear down the Maoist flag. And they're still waving the Nepalese flag. They're very nationalistic. They're very proud of Nepal, and they're serious people. That's why the British have hired Gurkhas for many generations now, right? And I did combat with Gurkhas, by the way, in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I went to their tracking school with them down in combat tracking down in Brunei with the Gurkhas and the British Army. And the Gurkhas are quite serious too. So these are some of the people that'll be obviously in the game over there. But Nepal, it just happened, obviously. So we had just landed in Thailand to research issues that are going on here, like the dope stores that are everywhere now. There's thousands of dope stores. Last night, Masako and I were in a dope store. Literally in front of us, somebody had ordered dope online because there's a website, and the little motorbike came and actually took the delivery off. You can order dope right here and have it delivered to this hotel. Except you can get a fine here for smoking. Let's see, for smoke. I'm not going to share the name of the hotel, but for smoking smoking marijuana or cigarettes or durian fruit. You know what durian fruit is? I love durian. I'm one of the only white guys that love durian. But when you bring durian into the hotel rooms, they will give you a huge fine. If you do it in a taxi, it's a huge fine. They do that in Japan too.
What's
right?
durian? What is durian fruit?
It's a fruit that I remember in the United States. It's got spikes on it. There's a lot of fruit with spikes, but the durian fruit is. I remember years ago I saw a newspaper article in the United States at some university. You could find this easily. This university cleared out the cafeteria or something. They thought there was maybe a bomb or some explosive gas was being released. Somebody had brought durian into the cap. They literally evacuated because they'd never smelled it before. But it's a smell. A lot of people can't stand the smell. It'll make people vomit. Like if you open it in a taxi, the taxi driver will be like, stop the car, put you out, because the next passengers that come in won't want to take his taxi, right? And I love durian. I'm like one of the only white men that probably love durian. But there's a lot of Thais that can't put up with it. There's a lot of Chinese that can't put up with it. But a lot of Thais and Chinese obviously love it. And a lot of, do you like durian? Hey, listen, durian is good, but you'll get a big fine if you eat it in a taxi, and you'll get the same fine that you'll get for smoking marijuana or cigarettes, except you'll even be less welcome with durian fruit.
So going back to Nepal here for a second, I saw the prime minister was getting dragged. They killed him, right? The prime minister.
I don't know. Did they kill him? I don't know if they killed him or not. But anyway, it'll be easy to figure it out. But that I know they were doing some beating up there. Nepalese people don't play around. Same with Thai people. When Thai people get riled up, I mean, it's game on. And they're the Nepalese people. They say the first time you go to Nepal is for the mountains, which is true. Almost everybody, the first time they go, is they want to see the Himalaya, right? Which is like, they make the Rocky Mountains look like hills. And literally in Nepal, anything less than 20,000 feet, they call it a hill. You know, Mount Fuji's about 14,000 feet. That is a small, small hill, right? And it's like, I mean, this is the Himalaya, right? So the first time people go is for the mountains. But people love the Nepalese so much, like I do. I like Nepalese. They're like Filipinos of the mountains, you know? And you know, they're so easy to get along, like Filipinos. And so the second time people go to Nepal is for the people. There, yesterday or this morning, I watched a video. There was a guy taking his motorbike. He was just doing the normal young man adventure around the world. He had taken his motorbike from here in Thailand, and now he's up in Nepal. He had ridden through probably Myanmar, I'm guessing, obviously, probably Myanmar. There's other ways you could go around, theoretically. And anyway, he ended up in Nepal. And so he suddenly ends up in this thing. He had no idea what's going on. He just showed up. And he made some tremendous video. I didn't put it on my Substack yet, but I'll put it up. But he was there at the Parliament when they were burning it down. What's more interesting about it is while the fighting's going on and they're beating people up right in front of them, they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" They're being Nepalese. "Oh, welcome to Nepal." And one of the Nepalese women is like, "You know, when did you get here?" And and then she's, you know, in English, she's laughing. A Nepalese woman's asking this guy, I guess he's British. She's like, you know, basically, other than us burning down the Parliament, how's your trip in Nepal? I mean, even while they're doing violence on people, they see a foreigner and they're like, "Oh, here, you want some water?" Everybody's handing them water and stuff. That's what Thais do. I was in so much of the fighting here. I mean, people getting killed and everything else, and Thai people run across the road to give you water. I mean, that's the way they are in Nepal, right? And that's why people love the Nepalese. So despite the fighting that's going on and whatever's happening up there right now, I still like Nepalese people. I spent a year up there. They're tremendous people, and I hope everything's well. We might shoot up there and see how it's going.
What do you? I know there's been a few people that, going back to Charlie Kirk here for a second, there have been people that have been people of interest. They've talked to people, but nobody's been arrested yet. Who do you think would want to take him out?
It could be many people. It could be obviously just some crazy lunatic. You know, again, anybody who has any level of notoriety, which all three of us do, you will end up with a threat level. There's no way around it. I mean, that's the nature of the business. I mean, you're a lantern in a dark jungle. You know, things will come to you. So it could be that. Could be random wild guy. Could be something. Obviously, he's got strong positions on Israel. Could be that. He's got strong positions on Christianity. There's a lot of atheists and others out there that are completely nutters. I mean, it could be many, many things. And of course, he has millions of viewers. And so, let's see. I mean, the fact that nobody's even been arrested yet, apparently, or to my knowledge, that's kind of interesting in and of itself. But it is short on it. But it was obviously a short shot. Obviously, it wasn't like a a very long shot. So, and there
you think it was short? You think it was, not to interrupt you, but you think it was a short, because they're showing that video of that guy on the roof.
Yeah, what was that? A couple hundred meters away or so? I mean, that's probably kind of I don't know how far it was. I think it was quite short. You can hear the gunshot, right? It wasn't like it was a Barrett shot from a mile away or something. It was somebody, up close. I mean, relatively up close. I mean, a couple hundred meters to me is a short shot, right? I mean, all the serious marksmen watching this know that's almost like for a rifle, that's like nothing, right? And but it's terrible for his family. He had 2 young children, and that's the biggest tragedy of all this is the young children. Charlie Kirk was a smart man. He knows the chances he's taking. I mean, he was going in it like a soldier, right? And he paid the price. We heroically we in the monetary world, we would like a gold standard, right? A gold standard where gold backs our money, gold, silver, it could be bimetallic, whatever, but backed by something firm, not fiat. But in the world of war, there's one standard. It's the blood standard, right? And we pay for either mistakes or you can be doing everything right because the enemy can be quite smart as well, or just dedicated and willing to die in the process. And we pay for things on the spot in blood. In war, there is a blood standard. We are obviously in a state of war. We've been in war for a long time. It's clear, it's obvious, and it's only growing at this point. And Charlie Kirk was a casualty. But by the time he was taken to the hospital, there were other people probably already dying from the jab, the death jab. There's many weapons that are unfolding. There's the drugs, people dying on the streets all over the United States from drugs or car accidents as a result of intoxicants of any sort, whether it be alcohol or whatever. It's all part of this mixture of weapons that are being brought to bear on us. Anthropological warfare, making blacks and whites and Hispanics hate each other, all these sorts of things. You can take the same tactics and techniques that are used in the anthropological warfare or other psychological operations to make people hate each other and do drugs. You can just invert that, take the same techniques, just invert it and make people very strong and happy. And instead of going to the bar and partying, they go home to be with their family. You can just do the same techniques, but instead, evil has taken charge of these microphones. The people who run places like Hollywood, who run a lot of the music industry, they've decided to use evil. They have decided to deploy drugs, and they've decided, and a lot of these people are related. For instance, this morning I've been chatting with an anthropologist about Masako and I have started more study on weaponization of music. And we're going to go further into that as time unfolds. But I'll be quiet because Masako has many important things to say, and I don't want to dominate the microphone when we got Masako sitting here.
Masako, let me ask you something. Do you have something to say right now? Because I want to ask you something. So one of the things that I think is going to occur now in the United States is you're going to see more of a radicalization in this country. Now, you spent a good amount of time here. But my question is, as it comes back to Prime Minister Abe when he was assassinated, did that create more radicalization in Japan?
Within Japanese people to Japanese people.
Yes.
I don't think it created radicalization, but I think that assassination actually was a occasion that many Japanese people woke up to what Japan is actually facing. We are not just talking about, like an internal political issue. In other words, I think many people woke up to the threat of globalism. That's what I think. In Japan, Japanese people are not radical, but more of this weaponization of migration, this human invasion, it is putting fire on Japanese people's mind. I saw now a lot of the videos between Japanese people and foreigners who are doing violence within Japan are circulating more and more. Or those people coming from outside, they are harassing Japanese women, and Japanese people are talking about get them out of the country. We are not like the people who spoke in this direct manner. We are not used to, but now I see more and more people are showing direct will that we need to do something and we are going to stand up.
It's very important. The criminality in Japan is going up, up, up.
Yes.
And it's not being done by Japanese.
Yeah, and
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, please.
So I am trying to spread the view that it's not a migration crisis. It's a war. It's a human invasion. So I put a lot of tweets talking about we need to differentiate, and what we are really facing is invasion. Many people resonate with this. People say, "Oh, it's not a migration issue. It's an invasion." So many people started to understand this perspective. So unfortunately, people are waking up when Japanese government say they're accepting this invasion. So, but we need to spread this thinking far even more, and we need to. In Japan now, people are politicians especially talking about the percentage. What percentage can we allow? But it's not a matter of percentage, because talking about percentage means what percentage can we accept attack? What percentage of attack we accept? So we should not talk about the percentage. We need to talk about this is an invasion, this is an attack. Therefore, we need to stop it and push back.
Because India is dumping a lot of people into Japan, correct?
Yes. A week ago, I think, President Modi he visited Japan, and Japanese government promised Prime Minister who recently announced that he's going to resign. He promised India to Japan will put more money to develop India, and also Japan will accept a lot of workers. So the Japanese government's word tricking is they say we don't accept migrants, we accept foreign workers with their family. So it's the same thing. I think it's more than a week ago now, 4 cities in Japan announced that they're going to have each city accept to be hometown for African people. So they did this with UN and IOM and JICA. JICA is like a USAID Japanese version. They announced this, and Japanese people expressed huge pushback. So now, one city which was planning to visit Ghana, they said they canceled their officials,
Good.
Japanese official going to Ghana, they canceled.
You helped.
And many Japanese people. So that's the situation in Japan. And regarding Nepal, if I may talk a little bit more, what we need to realize is accepting people from outside, meaning we are accepting their problem to happen within our country. So what happened in Nepal, banning social media, I don't think it's a good idea. So people did uprising, but they not only did uprising within their country, they're doing it in Japan too. They did a protest in Shinjuku. Shinjuku is one of the major city in Tokyo. Many Nepalese waving their flag gathered in a park. So Japanese people were very surprised. What is going on?
Yeah. I need to be an ambassador between Japanese and Nepalese.
So
Because Nepalese really love Japanese, but having the protest in the Japanese park didn't go over well with the Japanese.
so it's a Christian lesson, right? It's in the Bible. If you try to have the Babylon story, if you try to make one world with one language, it's gonna collapse. So that's what's happening.
So Prime Minister Abe gets assassinated. That was a few years ago, I think, right? Is that 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
I think more than
3, right?
More than
Something like that, yeah.
I lose track of, time flies. Now this, right? You've got an invasion occurring between India, some of these African countries, and I have to believe you're saying now that it's polarizing the Japanese people, where they're getting anger, they're getting rage. Are you seeing more assaults on young women then too, as a result of all these illegals, aliens coming in?
Yes, rape happens too. Recently there was a news. I remember. Was he from Kurdish? I think he was Kurdish. I'm not 100% sure, but so the so-called migrants did crime, and then he was sentenced to prison. Raped minor, and at the court, his mother was saying he didn't kill a person. This sentence is too much.
That's right. It was in the news. His family was saying that.
Yeah, yes.
They're basically like, why is he going to prison? He didn't murder anybody. He just raped.
But yes, that's...
You're like, hello, some fish don't mix well in the same aquarium.
And so now Japanese people are saying the crime by the foreigners is going up. Then here comes Japanese government trying to manipulate us, saying that look at the statistic. Actually, it's not going up. And then what happened is, when crime happens, then police comes do the investigation, and police prosecutor decides if they will take into court case or not. So what happened is they don't take into court case. That's why the numbers doesn't accumulate in the statistic, but the crime happens.
So it sounds like the same blueprint that's happening in the United States in a lot of these cities, where the prosecutor,
exactly.
right? It's the same. So in your opinion, then,
Same players too, Michael. Same players. IOM, and suddenly Japanese are waking up to IOM, and like one Japanese journalist that I know, an author, contacted me to do interviews about IOM. And I said, hey, there it is. Masako Ganaha has been tracking IOM around the world. She's been out with him in the jungles of the Darien Gap. She went into their office in Buenos Aires in Argentina asking for a job, IOM, right? I mean, Masako flew with Chinese who were being deported from Panama. She flew with them all the way to Turkey on the same flight. I mean, there's your expert on IOM. She's been researching this for 4 years straight now. And so all that preparation that you've done is now Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Listen, close down IOM. They need to be kicked out. Masako has been saying this for a long time. United Nations needs to go. All of them. Cut off their electricity.
Masako, in your opinion then, can Japan vote their way out of this, or is this way beyond elections now?
We can, because that's what we need to do, and that's the only way we can do. We cannot no longer ask politicians to change the country. They're not gonna do it because they're all bought and they're buyable. So Japanese people tends to think, oh, the people, our leaders do work for us. That's our culture. We believe in the leaders or political system. So Japanese people need to realize we are the ones to protect, or we are the ones to do something. And that mindset is spreading actually now. That's why, for example, Sanseito, this political party I introduced to you earlier, the name of the political party is Participating Politics. That's the name of the party, because it's to aim to change people's mindset towards society or the current everyday life. We need to engage in it. And so those people who resonate are participating. So it's spreading across. And one example I can tell you that was successful is regarding the self-amplifying injection. People are doing, don't do this, don't do that, don't approve. We are saying do something to the government. But the group who are fighting this vax changed their way of fighting. They say, screw, they are not gonna do it because they are the one killing us. So instead of asking the government to do something, we the group started to talk to the people, say, if you don't get injection, then no matter what they do, it doesn't matter because they want to inject within our body. If we say no, then it's not gonna work. Because of this mindset, people didn't get injection, the self-amplifying one. So it went very successful. So in this
Dr. Murakami is a hero for that.
yes,
Yasufumi Murakami. You should get him on the show.
We
Yeah.
recorded
Masako
that.
knows him very well.
We recorded that. Remember, Masako and I and Professor
we
Murakami a
did
few
it
years
once.
Oh,
ago.
you did?
You were there too. Yeah.
You're way ahead of things.
Yeah, I'd like to get him back on actually. So Masako, do you still have faith in the voting systems in Japan?
Voting system, unfortunately, no. No. In this kind of world right now, not only in Japan, but it's clear that happened in the United States. All of our governments are manipulated. System is manipulated, and officials, the structure is manipulated. So instead of putting a faith in the government, we need to realize that it's all captured. So it's we are the ones to do within our capacity. That's how we can win the war against globalism, because that's their tool. That's why they successfully manipulated us within using our faith. So instead of putting faith in these fake ones, we need to put faith in our real stuff.
Do you what will be the breaking point where people will start to take matters into their own hands? And before you answer that, you know the risks that you're taking every single day, coming back to Charlie Kirk here for a second, and you don't waver. Is there concern with what you do and how well you're known in your country for your own safety?
Well, yes, I need to recognize what I do. Speaking up has a lot of risk, but if we are intimidated by those assassinations that happens, then that's, I think, what part of the aim that they want to do. They want to use our fear to limit ourselves. That's their way of manipulating us. That's how they control us. So instead of being fearful, we just need to realize that we what do you call it? It's the view of how you want to live your life, but you are fighting for bigger than yourself. So in other words, it's like if you come to the mindset to this point, then I think the fear doesn't matter anymore. And we need that level of courage and understanding of our daily lives and our way of living. That's the path that we can win. Maybe Michael and in people all over the world and in US and including yourself, that's I think you have in your mind, right? Because that's why you keep going. And looking at your screen, you have American flag behind you. I was thinking it's a beautiful studio set. Like you are not in like a huge building with the security, the spotlights, but that's what you need, this spirit. So that's what we are fighting for. So
and then what will be the breaking point in your country where enough people will say enough, I've had it? This
weaponization of migration is, I think, be in a breaking point for Japanese people, especially because Japanese in Japan, we are relatively homogeneous compared to other countries, but radically Japanese government is trying to change it. So people will immediately realize what's happening is not natural. So this is the breaking point, I think. The rally is happening. It's starting to grow and grow in Japan now.
Michael, what I asked Masako earlier, I'm going to ask you the same question in regards to Charlie Kirk's passing. Over the last couple of days, you've seen the video of the Ukrainian girl that got stabbed on the train in Charlotte. I'm assuming you saw that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the last 2 days has been crazy because yesterday it was that girl, or last 3 days, it was one video and then there was another video of that girl, like a longer version, and then still photos, and then all this happening today. I put on X earlier that the United States is going to become a lot more polarized than it was before. And before you answer that, one of the other things that I said, I didn't put it out there, but I'm saying now, is you've got Charlie Kirk, you've got this girl, and then with Florida, the state of Florida now saying we are not going to make vaccines a requirement anymore, they're going in their own direction. To me, these are all events that have the potential to lead to a civil war.
We're in a civil war, and we have been for a long time. Many of us have warned about this for many, many years. It's just growing. It's not like all wars have a starting gun, right? Like a declaration of war, we're officially at war. Most wars have zero declaration of war. The last time the United States declared war was like 1942 or something? I don't know when it was, 41 when we declared war against Romania, right? I mean, we haven't declared war since we declared war against Romania and a few of the partners, right? It's been a long time. Vietnam, Korea, all that. There was no declaration of war. All the wars I was in, no declaration of war. We've been in, I don't know. The only time the United States is at peace is when we're stopping to reload, right? The United States, I study war. I mean, you should see our library. It's all about fighting Indians and all sorts of things, right? We were born, the United States is a product of globalists, right? We are a product of globalist war. Like my family coming over in 1609 and getting shipwrecked on Bermuda and then landing in Jamestown in 1610 and proceeding promptly in the first Anglo-Powhatan Indian War, right? Like right off the bat, here we go, war with the Indians, right? And, it took centuries to kill off the Indians. A lot of that was done with alcohol, actually. It wasn't just, it was many things, but a big part of it was nothing but alcohol and the consequences of alcohol and financial games. It's unbelievable that if you study what happened with the Indian, and by the way, I'm very proud to be an American. I'm deeply American, but I'm under no illusions about how this all came about. I'm under no illusions that the same tactics and techniques are being used today against us, right? They were used against the Indians. Keep in mind, these tactics were used back in Europe before. They were used in other places as well. China, Masako has been reading an old book called Race War, right? By the old Japanese army officer from 1940 or 41. And he's describing how China has done this to their indigenous people for a long. These are old games. They weren't born in Europe. They weren't born in Asia. I don't know where they were born. They were born somewhere. But the idea, these unrestricted warfare, suddenly since that book Unrestricted Warfare by the two Chinese officers with that title, Unrestricted Warfare, a lot of people come to the realization that there are people that see war in a very complex way, very artistic way, right? It's not about tanks and guns. It's about music. It's about borders, psychological operations. It's about getting you off the gold standard. It's about a lot of things all brought together at once, right? And it's a process, not an event. It's not a starting gun. It's an ongoing process that's been going for centuries, right? For centuries. And ultimately, it's not about money. People that look at this on a lower level, they'll say it's about money, but they're looking at it like at the colonel level and way above the general level, at the higher level, beyond the military level. It's not about money. It's about wealth. It's about land. It's about routes and resources. It's about power. It's about power. The people that are doing this, they don't need money. They own the printing presses, right? They can print all the money they want, right? Bill Gates showering money all around. Where do you think that stuff comes from? I'm sure he earned a lot of it, but I mean, the money is flowing through these faces into the wars that they're doing against us, like the jabs, the pharma wars, the invasions, like the IOM. So going after the so-called migrants, that's not even the way to ultimately do it. You have to go after the source, right? You don't go after the symptom. Like if there's a gas leak in your building, you don't go, oh, this is gas. I think I should put a gas mask on, right? I mean, seriously, you got to go turn off the gas. The first thing you do is turn off the gas. You sound the alarm, everybody out, and turn off the gas. The gas is the United Nations and other mechanisms like Catholic Charities, HIAS, which is the Hebrew Immigration Society, Norwegian Refugee Councils, Lutherans. It's a whole architecture, and they can be dismantled, right? They have physical addresses. Shut their water off. Shut their electricity off. You want to get the United Nations out of Tokyo? They're looking at expanding here in Tokyo because they're expanding the war here in Japan. If you want to get rid of them, turn off their electricity, turn off their water, impound their cars, right? You know what I mean? And just welcome them to the airport and say, have a nice day, go do it somewhere else, and cut off the funding, right? You have to cut off the gas. And Trump and his team have not cut off the gas to the United Nations. You can see in all my old videos that are online and things that I've published, is if you don't go after the United Nations and the other architectures that are part of this constellation of people doing this, then you're not even serious. In fact, you're part of them, right? The number one funder for United Nations is United States, number one. And Japan's one of the big funders as well, right? And cut them off. I mean, people say, we can't cut the United Nations. I'm like, and why not? I mean, seriously, are you saying you can't turn off that light switch over there? You walk over to the light switch and you turn it off. It's that simple. You can't get rid of the United Nations? All right, here you do it. You go off with the electrical people and you turn their power off in their buildings, right? You say, leave, please. Okay, turn your water off. Get out, right? You're welcome to leave. There's no air conditioning. It's hot. It's August. Leave, right? Or whatever, right? It's cold. It's winter. Your pipes are freezing. Get out. That's it. This is simple. You don't need tanks. You don't need guns. You just, when they come to the airport to come in, you say, no, you're not welcome in Japan. You have to fly off somewhere else, right? And you cancel their visas and you start getting rid of them. This is simple. It's simple stuff. It just takes something that we are familiar with called testosterone. You do it, right? Like Kamiya-san at the Sonsedo party, he needs to know very well that people are watching. If he starts to say, if he was public recently about, he was wavering on what percentage of invasion is okay. He needs to be crystal clear on this. Crystal clear. If you let anything over 0.0 in, then you're negotiating how much treason is okay against your country, just like happens in the United States and Netherlands. Look, Luxembourg is dead. Netherlands has crossed the Rubicon. Ireland has crossed the Rubicon. They're gone. Look at London. I mean, Masako and she went into that giant mosque. Actually, we were there. We went in there with Andy No, actually, and they gave her a Quran and that sort of thing. I mean, they're completely. She still got it, and and I mean, the point is that we've been to these places. We've been to about 30 countries in the last 4 years looking at this. And if you don't cut off the gas, the United Nations and the other architectures, it'll continue. Just because the border is secure now, as Tom Homan says, it's not secure. All the plumbing is still there, and they're just giving visas, right? Anyway, I'll be quiet, but Masako knows as much or more about this than I do, which is a lot because this is what we do 7 days a week.
What about France? You both have been to France. What do you think about what's going on there right now?
Well, we didn't go to France together. I've been to France looking at this. You know who went there more recently was Anthony Rubin and his brother, and they got attacked right in front of the Eiffel Tower by migrants, by invaders from Africa with an Eiffel Tower, like some Eiffel Tower. Literally, they were selling Eiffel Tower toys.
Those guys.
Those guys got kidnapped in Mexico. I love them, man. They got kidnapped in Mexico, And then they went when they got released. They're lucky they didn't get killed. It was right by SpaceX on the Mexican side.
And they get released and they go right to Best Buy and rebuy all their equipment so they could go back to where they were.
I was like, unbelievable. These guys are hardcore Americans. They were right back. They're like, we're not scared. We're pissed off they broke our camera gear. They went right back, man. And they lost all their footage because they didn't upload it. I told them to upload it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anthony is serious. He's a serious man. He's super smart. His brother, too. I mean, those
Josh,
guys, you should have those guys.
I've had them both on, Josh, too.
Oh, man, those guys. Then so they just went off to Africa, and they were doing some really dangerous stuff. And getting, they were feeding me information. I was like, this is unbelievable. And IOM, of course, and the normal suspects. And then they're in Paris, and they're going into these camps. This is dangerous. This is truly dangerous. Anyway, there's these migrants, invaders in front of the Eiffel Tower, literally selling Eiffel Towers. And they started to make video. And then Anthony and his brother got attacked with the Eiffel Tower, got blood. They sent me blood photos from the police station. I'm like, do I need to fly over? Because I'll get on the next airplane and come help, And they're like, no, everything's good to go. But this is the thing. It didn't hit the newspapers much, but they said that in the French newspapers, and I think it was in British newspapers too, right? I don't recall. But it said something like they were attacked, by sellers in front of the Eiffel Tower, but it was actually Africans who went violent on them. And so those are the guys. And like people like, and I've been to France looking at this. I've been to Avignon years ago, and many years ago before I went to the wars, and it was like just Algeria basically. I mean, basically what's happened is the colonialization came home. In life and in the world, everything you touch touches you, right? If two forms of music come together, they fuse syncretically, right? Religions form syncretically. Cuisine, when Thais and Malaysians are together, another sort of food comes out of that. And likewise, it happens. The colonialization has come home, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. It's the way we are as humans. But it's very intentional sabotage against us as well, right? It's very like Japan. People have wanted to destroy Japan for. Well, I mean, the Catholics wanted to take it at least since 1549, at a minimum. And, Nagasaki used to be the biggest Christian city in Japan, actually, and then it became Tokyo now. And I think Nagasaki's number 2 now, right? And but the Catholics tried to, globalism has many, many forms, right? There's economic globalism, there's religious globalism, which is the same. It's all fused together, right? There is, there's globalism at the corporate level. For instance, when my family came over to Jamestown, they were with the Virginia Company, right? I mean, they were with the Black Rock of the day, basically. You might as well call it Black Rock ship. They were on a ship called the Sea Venture. You could just call it the Black Rock Venture of 1609, right? And it's the other ships with them, they were lost in a storm, and nobody knows. Well, they're in the sea, I guess. And so, but my ultra-great-grandparents were shipwrecked on Bermuda. They landed in Virginia. And keep in mind, they had Indians with them that had already been back to London. They had 2 Indians because what the Virginia and other colonial companies would do is they would take Indians back to France or back to London or whatever, and they would say, hey, the Indians are friendly, come over. There's gold running in the streams, and the Indians are friendly, and the Indians would be like, yeah, we're friendly, or we get hanged, And so, because they're there for basically a circus act to get the people on the ships to come colonialize, right? And that's what's happening now. Now it's like in Nepal, there's IOM offices up in Nepal. There's IOM offices not far from us here in Bangkok. But those IOM offices are to invade Thailand. Not many Thais. I mean, some Thais go out to, other parts of the world, Australia, United States, or whatever. They don't cause any problems, right? Thais are absolutely welcome. But it's really the IOM and the UNHCR. They're here in Thailand invading Thailand, right? Because there's people that want to tear Thailand apart. That's why the drug There's a drugstore, like a drugstore, a cannabis store, like 100 yards from us right now, right? They're all over the place. That is an attack on Thailand, right? It's all part of that larger structure of wars, music, drugs, intoxicants of any type, of course, migration, all these sorts of food, controlling our food, which Japan has no food security. Again, I'm dominating the microphone when we got Masako Ganaha here.
You guys doing okay on time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the chance for Masako to tell what's going on in Japan and things that she always has a different way of looking at things, which is very valuable.
What else is going on in Japan, Masako?
So the things happening in Japan, we still have a rice issue too, the farming topic, and
Same topic here, the rice issue. Not a coincidence. I'll be quiet.
yes, like Michael emphasized on we're gonna have a famine, and also there is a heavy push on marijuana. They always say medical purposes, but people who are pushing doesn't look need medicine. They want to leisure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they want to get high.
yes. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I mean, it's incredible that all these Western Western societies they're all experiencing the same template, right? Being carried out by these overlords. I want to ask you guys both, starting with Masako, because this is just something that I've kind of come up with on my own. So maybe I'm way on left field here, but the WEF, the World Economic Forum, I look at it. I refer to it as the WEF 2.0 now, because George Soros did what he needed to do, and he's old. He's whatever he is, 93, 94, 95 years old. To me now, the new WEF is maybe still Bill Gates, but you've got Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Mark Andreessen, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, these tech people that are now in control, because they know without their instruments to lock us down and implement these CBDCs and Real ID and control the bank accounts, the globalists can't do this. So I feel like they're the globalists now.
They are.
Yes. Like, Noor bin Laden, she used the term digital jail. I think that's the real good words to express what they're doing. In Japan, we have what's called my number. It's like similar to what social security number in US. They are trying to connect everything and consolidate everything in one, and that's how they can manipulate all and control Japanese people. So yes, digital way of digital jail is the coming up threat. I think it's already is, right? The Apple, we are using computer and iPhone. They all know what we are doing, everything. So everything is accumulated, and they can use this against us for thought crime. In recently, like those kind of things we already knew, and we are warning, and we are trying not to maybe use less or try to not be manipulated with the algorithms. But now ordinary people who are not engaged in information war in daily basis are trying to now realizing. A week ago, we went to Okinawa, because Okinawa, there is a season, it's called Obon. Obon is like we have a tradition of family ancestor worshipping. So during the summer, all the relatives get together and commemorate our ancestors. So we went to Okinawa and met all the relatives. And when Michael started to talk about how phones or all the electronics, which has power and maybe hidden camera, microphone, can manipulate and spy on us, then my aunt, my uncle started to say, oh, recently we are talking about this, only talking. And then the advertisement showed up. So they realized that those things are listening to us. So it's coming. And what would you like to say, Michael?
Well, Michael,
Yeah,
to add to that, going to the United States here for a second, the polarizing events that have occurred, and with big tech working to implement, to me, kind of connecting these final bridges, right, to have full control. What would you advise somebody to do that are now finally? I mean, people message me today like they're all pissed off, and it's like, and they're like, we need to communicate better. It's not good on either side that we're having any kind of violence, and I'm like, you have no idea you still have no idea what's going on. Like, what do you advise people like that to do?
You mean to communicate with people who have different opinion?
Or people that are just so oblivious to where we're really at. Like, there's no election fixing this. And I'm talking about the United States right now. Like, you're not voting your way out of this any longer. And people are going to become more polarized, and they need to prepare themselves, in my opinion. And that's why I'm curious what you'll say, Michael. In my opinion, they need to prepare themselves for what's coming. And you say we're already in a civil war, but it's going to deepen, and at some point it's going to go more kinetic.
I will give a microphone to Michael, but if I may say one thing about communicating, at this point we need to differentiate people who are still in a globalist cult, and who between those people and the people who realize what's going on, because we cannot waste our time talking about this is a good vaccine or not a good vaccine. So we need to level what level this person is, how much brainwashed, and if this person is worth enough to spend time to brainwash, then you should communicate and engage. But if those people still saying, oh, it was safe and effective, at this stage we need to triage communication, and we need to collect as much as people who are willing to engage in this fight. In other words, we are in a war, so we are not to talk to the people who are in enemy cult or trapped in and being Pinocchio to say you need to engage in the fight. But rather, doing this, we need to spend our valuable time to people who are willing to fight. Okay, you can fight like this. Or people maybe realizing that they need to join this fight. We need to put our effort in those people, communicate those people, rather than having cult people. So in communication triage.
You bring up a good point, Masako. Basically, to summarize what you just said, don't waste your time. If people that don't understand are not willing to want to understand, it's not worth our efforts anymore to even attempt to communicate with them.
Because we don't have much time. That's how serious our situation is. Yes, that's why I use triage, because the doctors, when they are in a mass casualty location, they don't say, okay, everybody line up, I'm going to take care of you, everybody one by one. The doctors need to quickly estimate who needs the greatest attention now and likely to be saved, because the time is limited. It's 72 hours or 48 hours or something like that, right?
No, we called it the golden hour.
Golden hour. So that's the situation we are in. So I of course want to be very generous and put my effort to save people, but I don't have that luxurious time.
Michael?
Right. And an interesting thing is, like, Matt Bracken brings up often, Matt has an extraordinary ability to predict. A lot of the things are quite obvious. We are going into an era of drones that will be, transformative, to put it mildly. When we ate in a restaurant the other day in Okinawa, and we were served by a little drone that came up to the table, right, with little blinking eyes, little robot, right, and in the airport, a little drone going down, not an aerial drone, but a little robot, cleaning the floors and that sort of thing. In some of the buildings in Nagasaki, for instance, there's robots at the end of the hallway. They come in and they blink at you with their little light flashing eyes and that sort of thing. We landed in Bangkok, and there was robots cleaning the floor, right? Stopping, talking to you, going around you, that sort of thing. I mean, this is quite serious. The people that are building these architectures now, as is often the case, they become trapped in their own traps. They make the traps for us, but for instance, people like Zuckerberg and the rest, on the larger scale, they're fungible too, right? They might not think that they are. I don't know what they think because I'm not in their minds. But often people like that, the way that they behave is as if they're immune to the forces, and they are not. In fact, they are, if anything, at greater risk than an average person. They're at very high risk. People like Bill Gates, as an example. As long as he's useful, Bill Gates will be able to run around and act like Bill Gates. He'll be able to go play on Epstein Island. He's probably still doing stuff like that. Nothing's going to happen to him. He knows it. But as soon as he's no longer useful, that's it. It's over, Bill, right? And it's the same with the, kings knock over kings all the time. That's a regular, that's a common thing. Nothing has changed. And people, they're building traps for us, but they're inside of the trap. I mean, when they zip up the trap, they're in it with us. The digital prisons will be for everybody. Keep in mind, it's a multiplayer game. Chinese are doing it. When you fill out the immigration forms to come in to places like Thailand, you have to check a box that, yes, we agree you can share this with the government and other entities, right? Which means who? NSA, China, whatever, right? Multiplayer game. All these facial recognition cameras. We all know all about this stuff, but the digital prison is growing rapidly. And again, the people that are building these systems are inside the fish tank with us. There's no way they can escape. They can play prison warden for a while as if they're the big boss in charge, but as soon as somebody's tired of them, you're out. And it probably won't be a nice way to go. Like, you'll be floating in the water like Maxwell.
Where can people find you guys? Where can they find your work?
Substack. Masako hasn't started her Substack yet, but Substack, my name, Michael Yan. And Masako was talking this morning about starting a Substack.
Yes, and I have X. Thank you very much.
When is your Substack going to be going? Why are you pushing the mic away? I wasn't done talking to you. Why are you pushing? No, Masako. Why are you pushing the mic away?
It's the mic girl.
She's pushing it away. So when are you going to start your Substack?
I will do research how to start. So maybe today or tomorrow, or how easy Substack is. I don't know.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. What could I can't even get my words out. Your audience, what could they look forward to on your Substack? What are you going to put on there?
So my research on anti-global totalitarianism. So this how the weaponization of migration is dangerous, or I'm dig into actually right now the old books that are banned after the World War II, the observation towards Chinese people, how in the long history of their expansionism, what they did is they used, what do you call this?
Like a plow.
Plow.
A hoe. Right.
to create a farmland. That's how they invaded.
Meaning human farmland, meaning plowing up the old culture and replanting with the new one. That's exactly how they do it. And she found an old book that was banned from 1940, written by a Japanese officer. Unfortunately, it's only in Japanese, but Masako has been translating parts of it for me. It's absolutely fascinating.
So in other words, I am studying old books and learning from their wisdom. So I would like to introduce those kind of things.
I can't wait. I can't wait to start reading that. That'll be great. So you put it in English. We put it in English?
Both in Japanese and in English. I'm going to experiment how I can do. So let's see.
Guys, I thank you both for doing this. And, I obviously look forward to continuing to follow both of your work. And I hope one day that I get a chance to meet you two in person. Any idea how long you're going to be in Bangkok for?
Come over here.
It's interesting. I have met you online so many times. That I didn't realize until you said that we have not met in person.
No, and how both of you, how many different countries have I talked to you both in since we've known each other? I mean, it's,
15 or 20 maybe. I don't know.
It's a lot, right? Well, and several times in the United States. Masako, I mean, it was in Netherlands, London, Okinawa, Panama, Bangkok. I feel like I'm missing one.
Ireland?
No, I didn't talk to her in Ireland. I don't think. No, but you though, it was
Germany. Yeah.
No, you was Panama a couple times, Netherlands, Texas, Arizona, London, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Masako, I talked to you in Canada too. I talked to Tom Marazzo.
Argentina, I think we did. Didn't we do Argentina?
Yeah, we did do Argentina because you were down there for a conference.
Yep, Masako was there.
Yeah, Masako was there too. Yeah, because it was Doug Casey and Matt Smith, I think, right? All in that trip.
Speaking of which, they just came out with a new book called The Preparation. I just started chapter 2. It's a book about. It was written by Doug Casey and Matt Smith for Matt's son Max Smith, who's 20, for young people that don't want to go to university, don't want to waste their time and money on university, but they want a very serious education, right? And it's a fascinating book. I'm only in chapter 2. Doug sent it to me just before we got on the plane from Japan to Thailand, so I started reading it on the airplane. And Doug said to me, "You'll feel like it was written by you, Michael." And I'm reading it. And I'm like, exactly. I mean, they're basically saying, why are you wasting your time on university and your money? You'll end up in student debt when you can do these things. And for a lot less money, and you will learn a lot more. Like Masako and I, we're in the University of the World. I mean, we read a lot of books. We go places with the right people, Darien Gap with the Indians or whatever, politicians. In this book, The Preparation is all about doing that and how young people can do that. Like, we've taken young people into the Darien Gap. I mean, they got experiences of a lifetime. They're getting like war college level stuff through the Panama Canal, that sort of thing. And we're going to take some more, actually. We're going to take the Centurions from Texas down through the Panama Canal, right? And that's what this book is all about. If you get Doug Casey on and Matt Smith and Max, you know them well. That book I'm only in chapter 2. I was reading it on the airplane, and I read a little bit yesterday as well. And actually, if we weren't on right now, I'd be reading it right now. It's an amazing book.
Yeah, and
so far.
So in there's so many things in that book. I had Maxim on a couple weeks ago, and Matt and Doug right before the book came out. But I'll tell you, I mean, one thing that stands out to me, there's so many things, but one thing that stands out to me about it, because I feel like we're all in this category. We don't like rules and we don't like being told what to do. And we're not like corporate people. I was a corporate guy for a little while and I never want to go back to that world. And that's what college does, right? It prepares you to be a robot. High school does that. College does that. You're miserable every minute you're there. All you're waiting for is the bell to ring. So you have that 10-minute break in between classes when you're in high school that you could talk to people. And then you got to go back into another room for another hour and wait for that next bell to ring. But you develop these internal rules, like core principles that you will not violate your own rules, that you will not violate under any circumstance. And that has just been stuck in my head. Like, I've just been thinking about it constantly now, because as a country in the United States, I don't know if it's like this in Japan, we have no moral compass anymore. We have no moral compass. People are basically will whore out for money. There's no integrity. There's no character. And that was written.
Some of us do.
Some of us won't. Not everybody. Not everybody.
There are some hardcore people.
Not everybody.
And those are the seeds we need to plant, right?
But generally, though, like, just our country in the direction of, like, people have no moral compass, and, you know, there's no internal rules with people. They'll violate them in order to make money.
They'll watch Trump, you know, push the jab and go, well, he never mandated it. Like, seriously, are you on drugs? You know what I mean? Seriously, you got to be on drugs to go, well, he never mandated it, therefore it's okay to kill millions of people, right? I mean, that is just like such low wattage. And I don't know if it's low intelligence or just weakness and cowardice, or, you know, or brainwashing. But these are sorts of things that you should never put up with. Never put up with it. I'm not going to meet you halfway that it's just because Biden is bad, therefore Trump is the good guy. That is such low. That's like room temperature IQ stuff. And people need to say it like that. They need to just say, if you're saying just because he didn't actually put the needle in your arm, he's a good guy. I mean, seriously, you know, have fun, go get jabbed. I mean, that's triage. We don't have time for that. Remember, cowards are natural traitors. Cowardice is the germ of treason, right? And one thing that somebody told me this morning, an anthropologist, let me look it up again as we hang up, and I'll send it to you. But she said some of the old in the old Greek philosophy is like, the gods will not help alcoholics or cowards. They'll help everybody else, but not alcohol. I'll send it to you. She sent it to me this morning. She's an anthropologist. They won't help alcoholics or cowards.
Well, and also with that, you know, and this is what I've, because you know what I think it is, though. I know we're wrapping up, but since we're on this topic for a minute, people want to be told what to do. Now, this isn't everybody. This is not you. This is not me. This is not Masako and some of the other, Matt Bracken, you know, Dave Collum, you know, so on and so forth. But people want to be told what to do. And they would rather, and they thought that Trump would get back in and they could go back to the way life was before. That's what I think their mindsets are. But the reality of it is that's not going to happen. And this Charlie Kirk getting assassinated today was another reminder of where we are. And I also said, you know, Matt Bracken and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, or last week, I think, with the deployment of the National Guard. That's a slippery slope, because they're talking about going into Chicago now and potentially other cities. And I said, be careful what you wish for. And it also makes me kind of wonder, you know, would they try to utilize that now, like to maybe with Charlie Kirk's assassination, if there's more, you know, more radicalism from all this, would they use that National Guard deployment to potentially lock us down again?
You just used the dangerous term, slippery slope. Let me say something about that. The university educated people will say that's a logical fallacy, slippery slope. I called up Al Johnson, our mutual friend, a few years ago, and I'm like, you know what? I keep hearing people say slippery slope is a logical fallacy. In other words, if you use slippery slope, then you're being illogical. And I said, that's not illogical at all. Slippery slope is very real. It's very real. Like the way you just used it is very real, right? And I said to Al, and luckily Al had already researched this as well. That's why I called him. I'm like, where did this idea that slippery slope is fallacious? It's just not. And at some point, logic books got rewritten so that things like slippery slope were seen as logical fallacies. And like, for instance, let's say the dope, marijuana. people would say, oh, it's a slippery slope, it's a gateway drug or whatever, and they go, no, slippery slope is a logical fallacy, because this is what I learned in the brainwashing institution called the university. That's where I got this piece of paper, like I'm that guy on the Wizard of Oz that got the piece of paper, the diploma, right? And it's just brainwashing. But you're right, that the National Guard and all that, keep in mind, Trump is an absolute predator. Trump is a condom for the globalists. He's just as much a globalist as Biden is. He is the same thing. They may hate each other's guts. They may do all kinds of, they may want each other in prison or whatever, but they are boys. They are Pinocchio for somebody else, right? These are not, nobody needs to the attack that just happened between, the Zionists just attacked a Target and Qatar with the Hamas people, right? Nobody needed to ask Trump about that. They're going to do it, right? I know Eric Carilla. I know how he operates. He's the most serious military man I've ever seen in my life. He just, retired as CENTCOM commander, and he went right back into action with the Israelis, right? I mean, I know how he operates. They would have pulled him in there and they would have killed him. I've seen us do that. I've been with him when we did stuff like that up in Mosul, right? He's very good at it. He's a very serious man. And what I'm getting to is nobody needs Trump. Trump is just an autumn leaf on a tree. He's serving a function. He's helping the despotism along. He's keeping MAGA, keep the cows, keep the mooing to a low roar. And, when he got elected, people said, oh, I voted for Trump and he got elected. Now I can sit back and go to Hooters and have my chicken wings, right? It's like, no. The border is not secure. Look, they're still giving visas and that sort of thing. Trump said he would give visas to 600,000 Chinese. I said that recently, and somebody said, no, he changed his mind. It's something else. I'm like, yeah. What am I supposed to track Trump's changing mind? His mind changes like a breeze going across the rice field. His mind is always going this way. You don't know what's in Trump's mind. I don't know if Trump knows what's in his mind. But at the end of the day, he is not the big boss man. He's just not. He's not wise. He's a predator. He's a casino owner, right? He's a casino guy. We went into a casino the other day, a pachinko place in Okinawa, and all they are is just, they're incredible traps, loud stuff, flashing lights and all that. It's amazing. When I wrote my first book, Danger Close, 1999 is when it came out. I started that in a casino. My first paragraph first page, I started on a mountaintop down there in that desert. I went up there and was just thinking alone. And I started talking about being in a casino that morning because I was looking at the casino. I don't gamble. I've never gambled. The total amount that I've gambled, I gamble my life, but the total amount that I've gambled in a casino is like $20. You know what I mean? Like a roll of quarters. Like, okay, that's how it works, and that's about it, right? I mean, I just don't. But I go into casinos and I look at it. I look at how they're doing the things, and no clocks, no windows, no, idea of time, the loud noises for everybody that wins and that sort of, just mind, here, you want more alcohol, here, free drinks, sir, are you out of alcohol? There you go, right? It's that sort of thing. And that's what Trump did. His whole life is casino guy. His whole life, real estate, right? For real estate for what? I don't know. Something to do with all that money that you were getting through other mechanisms? I don't know. But at the end of the day, that guy made his whole life on swindling people. That is his essence. That is who he is. He is the snake that he talks about. Bitcoin and all these sorts of things is a clear scam. It's a nakedly obvious scam. Remember, the people that were pushing Bitcoin in the beginning were like, this is about anonymous, transactions. And then when that collapsed, utterly collapsed, and remember, that was the big sell in the beginning, was this is freedom from fiat, right? That was the big sell. And then it completely collapsed, and the cult rewrote its own firmware, or it was helped along with that. And they still stuck, okay, it's not exactly anonymous. In fact, not only is Bitcoin not anonymous, it is the most trackable money on planet Earth. It's more trackable than your credit card. And I mean that literally, right? Not figuratively, not hyperbolically. Bitcoin is more trackable than any money that I've ever heard of, right? It's like way more more trackable than your Visa card. And look how trackable that is. Amazingly trackable. Anybody on planet Earth with a computer terminal can track your Bitcoin transactions and the history of that unit, right? But still, the cult continues. The Michael Saylors and everybody else. Hey, mortgage your home, mortgage your property, buy this Bitcoin, and that's what Trump does. He's one of the biggest scam artists on planet Earth. One day there'll be, I don't know if we still have books in the future, but he'll be known in somewhere as one of the biggest scam artists ever to walk across planet Earth, pushing death jabs. And yet the cult goes, oh, well, what the heck? Fauci fooled him. He's so stupid. But he's the 5D chess guy. Fauci fooled him. He didn't fool us. He didn't fool you. But Fauci fooled Mr. 5D chess, right? No, he's doing 5D chess all right. He's just not doing it but he's doing it against the people that still buy into him, right? And will throw literally millions of dollars to get him reinstalled. And then what? Here, have 600,000 Chinese. Bring the Indians in, right? I mean, this is well, it's time to focus on our core, the people that can see this for what it is. Because triage, we don't have time for the room temperature IQ anymore. This is too deadly serious.
What are your thoughts? I want to ask you one last question. What are your thoughts about the National Guard potentially going to Chicago? They're already in D.C. and maybe other cities after.
It's not even a slippery slope. It's way beyond that. This is literally deploying the military into our cities. This ain't slippery slope. We leapt right over that slope. We're in it. I mean, and MAGA's like, yay, send them out. This is right out of the book that people have warned about for generations. G. Edward Griffin warned about this stuff back when it was black and white. He's like, first they'll create the crisis. There'll be fires and assassinations and all this stuff. G. Edward Griffin just sent me like 5 emails in the last week. That guy's, where's my book?
I haven't read that book. I need to get a copy of it.
You got to read this book, man. Creature from Jekyll Island. I'm telling you. This was my copy that I left behind in Thailand. I picked it up when we came back. But I mean, this is unbelievable. You got to read this book. G. Edward Griffin was writing about this stuff before I was born, like literally, right? And somehow he saw through it back then. What does he talk about? He doesn't talk about that in this book, but he talks about it in a lot of his old black and white videos and whatnot. He talks about how they'll create the crisis and then deploy the military in the cities. This is an old game. This is a very old game. This was an old game before he was born. This was an old game before G. Edward Griffin's grandfather was born. You create the crisis, you send the army, right? This is normal, right? And Matt Bracken has talked about this many times. Matt Bracken knows, he's been saying this for years. They'll create the crisis and they'll send the military into school. So we can skip past the slippery slope nonsense. This is execution of game plan. And by the way, I've been with the U.S. military when they're deployed in cities like in Iraq, and it ends up with a lot of death, right? That's the last people on earth that you want to send in to go after gangsters, right? I mean, seriously, we're talking about people, who, I mean, I was in the military. Matt Bracken was obviously a SEAL. A lot of my friend structure is a huge amount of and actually people still in the military. And most of them seem to see right through this. Like, why would we do that? Why would we send the army into, say, Atlanta, right? There's nothing good can come from that. They've created this crisis so they can take control with the digital prison, with the, once they've got the first, now they're deploying, camps are being built. We've already got a lot, remember when the radical people were like, they're building these camps for us? They're right. They're clearly right? And building the Trump wall, and they're building it for us. And I think that they're right, actually, because you can stop the vast majority of the flow over the border just by this one magic thing called testosterone. It is not difficult. If you've got this thing called testosterone, remember the Darien Gap. I said for years, Masako and I were down there all the time. A child, let's say, not a child, a good captain, a very competent captain, like, 26, 27 years old, well-enabled, got the right maps, been out there looking at it for a few months. That captain could close the Darien Gap. You don't need generals. And yet I had people telling me that have been in intelligence and other things for many years, it's impossible to close the Darien Gap. If I had a whole table full of generals and I was in charge and I said, all right, I need a plan to close the Darien Gap, and I want that plan in 10 days, right? I don't want to, this doesn't take 3 months. Get me a plan. How are we going to do it, right? I've been around too many military operations to think that this is going to take a year to plan, right? This is so easy, right? I've been out in the Darien Gap so much. This is so easy. But if I had one general in there that said, well, sir, we can't really close it. It's a very terrible jungle and that sort of, I would say, okay, thank you, General, for coming in here today. Please close the door when you leave, right? And that's it. He would be out of the military. I'd be like, we don't have time for that. So let that be a lesson for the rest of the generals at the table. The Darien Gap will be closed, right? And either you will close it or you will be dismissed and you'll be out of the military, right? Because I can get a captain to do it. And as soon as the U.S. decided to close the Darien Gap, and the Panamanian government has wanted to close it since, we were right in the middle of all this, it was closed like that, right? There are still some people coming and going through, but it's basically roughly zero, right? It was child's play to do it. Likewise with the southern border. It is not difficult. Yeah, you'll have some people slipping through, but we were there, Masako and I, she's seen it with her own eyes, when our border patrol is the one loading them up in the buses. Our National Guard's the one. I've got on video. I'm this close to our National Guard loading people on the buses. At Governor Abbott down there on the border saying, hey, we're closing the border. But right over here, 400 meters away, so all the cameras are focused on Governor Abbott putting out the concertina wire and all that nonsense. Just a short walk away, there's people crossing the Rio Grande. Right, but the cameras won't even do that because they're all part of it, right? It's child's play. You can close the border, right? We get it. There will be some squirters, but for the most part, it's easy to do. Defund the United Nations. Start putting these people in prison. When people come across, you're not going to get citizenship. You're going to jail. You'll be in jail out in the desert in one of these camps for 6 months, and when we get around to it, you'll be sent home when we get around to it, right? At some point, since there's a long line of people like you have come in, you'll get your day and you'll get your stamp and you'll be shackled and you'll be sent back out. If your country does not take you, you will go to a prison island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? That'll be it until somebody takes you. You will not be allowed in, period, right? And you match this up with an information war showing what's happening. We're DNA testing everybody, which they're not. And you're just not going to get in, right? If you get caught, you will go to prison, period. Everything on you will be taken. You will not get it back. You will leave wearing orange, right? But that takes testosterone, not a bunch of children that are like, oh, we can't do it. Whose feelings are we going to hurt, right? Like one intel guy telling me, we can't go against Amy Pope, the leader of IOM, because you might create enemies. I'm like, create enemies? We're way past that. They are enemies. Get them. Let's get them. What do you mean create enemies? I'm all about creating enemies. I'm about creating them and throwing them in prison, right? We should be blowing their doors off the hinges, right? Amy Pope should be sitting on the curb flex cuffed, right? She's the leader of IOM. Likewise, that's what should be happening. And again, in Japan, some Japanese will say, we can't cut off funding to the United Nations. I'm like, in what universe can't you do that? What universe prevents Japan from just going, not only is your funding cut, your water's cut and your electricity's cut and your visas are cut and you're out of here, right? You're out of Japan. Have fun. We wish you the best. You know what I mean? Come back with a tourist visa, maybe, right? But it's not hard. It just takes being a man. But these colleges that people go to, they seem to put people on dialysis and they strain out the testosterone part, right? And they give them their own blood back. They give your blood back sans testosterone. That's all it takes, right? Is there a dialysis that takes out testosterone or what? I mean, it's like they take the blood out of one arm, it goes through the machine and goes back in it goes into the other arm, except now you're like, well, I can't do anything. I'm so weak. I'm worthless. Coward. They become cowardly. They have perfect hair. It's those guys with perfect hair, you know.
Thank you both for doing this, and I'm gonna hopefully have Matt Bracken on tomorrow. So, Michael, if you're free, you want to jump on, we'll have another conversation and hear you and Matt go back and forth for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, Matt. We argue about some things, but I'm telling you what, Matt is a demonstrated record of accurate predictions. I mean, let's just face it. He went down to the Darien Gap with us, and his analysis after he got back was extremely good. So, I mean, he's a very important person. Was he just hosting Alex Jones or something the other day?
Yesterday. He did the 4th hour.
Oh, because I saw something pop up on my screen about I just hosted, and then it disappeared, and I couldn't find it again. It was like literally up for like a second and a half. Luckily, I read that first part.
Yeah, and also I want to have a conversation with you and John Waters too. So we're gonna have, people that listen to this, you're going to get a lot of Michael Yan in the next couple of days. So
let's do it. Now's the chance.
And Masako, I want to do a deeper dive into what's going on in Japan too. So, but thank you both for coming on, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Michael.
Mic drop.